Hi everyone. Wow, it has been a really long time since I made an update. I was actually a little bit reluctant to make an update yet. I guess I don't know. I want to apologise if anyone comments on my YouTube channel and I haven't got back to them. It's purely because where I've been putting my mental health first and kind of trying to get on the road to recovery and stuff. It's quite difficult to be so involved with like answering everyone's comments and stuff, and I just don't want anyone to get offended by that. I just kind of wanted to speak a bit about why I found it really hard. I think I saw Sphere put a video about that, about why she just needed to take a break from the YouTube videos and stuff. So I just wanted to apologise. I will try and look at everyone's questions and stuff. I'm not on YouTube as much, that's why I don't always see the questions, but I am on my Instagram, which is at Amy Shock. So if anyone wants to message me on there, I'm probably more likely to see it. So I wasn't going to do this YouTube video, but then I realised that the last time I made a video was a year ago. Well, not a year ago, but like 8 months ago, which is a really long time. So yeah, I figured that an update was in order. What has changed? I think the biggest thing I want to stress, and I don't need to go back into kind of all the other videos and like stuff that I've said like about the symptoms and stuff. I'm pretty sure you guys get the idea. But I think with this illness, I think it just takes, I think when you have a really bad relapse or whatever, I just think it can take a really long time to settle down. And I think it's really important not to compare yourself to other people. I've definitely learned that myself. It's a really weird illness. It's really isolating. I don't think it's that rare. I just don't think people are diagnosed, if I'm honest. Like, I've met so many people like that have similar or have had symptoms and just haven't been diagnosed. And I also think it's 80% of vertigo is linked to migraine. So that's a pretty high number. Anywho, so things that have changed. So I've tried a lot of drugs. I think last time I put a video up, I was on Pizotofen, which I do think it helped. But it kind of just cranked out after about 6-7 months. I don't want anyone to be scared about that medication because I know it can cause weight gain. And I was okay on that. I watched my food and I didn't really put on huge amounts of weight. Like, you just need to be careful with your diet and stuff. It did make me really bloated though. So I will give it that. And it made me really sleepy to start with. I think I got up to 3 milligrams, so I went really high, and it just kind of cranked out and I was just over it. So I came off that, gave myself a bit of a medication break, and then I wanted to try Effexa because I know a lot of people online have spoken about Effexa. I also just want to state, like, from reading a lot about Effexa, I really thought I was going to take it and like it would be like some magic cure and I'd be like cured. I don't really think that's what's happened. I definitely think it's helped, but I also just think it's important to put out there that I think it'd be really odd to have something for like months and months and months and suddenly you take something and it just, I think this illness is more of like a gradual progression to recovery, at least in my experience. Other people may be different. So I've been on it now for 8 weeks. 8 weeks? No, that's a lie. 9, 10 weeks? 10 to 11 weeks? About 10 weeks. I've only recently gone up to 75 milligrams. So I didn't start any lower than 37.5. I started on 37.5. I'm not overly med sensitive, so I didn't have an issue with that. What I would say is I've still heard from my doctors that 75 is not considered like a very high dose, so I still have some scope. And it's only been just coming up to 3 weeks on this dose, so I think it's quite early for me to say if it's kicked in or not. So I'm going to go off the fact that 37.5 obviously helped somewhat. What I've noticed so far with this drug is that my threshold has been raised. So for example, like, I could not go to bars and stuff. Like, I would just relapse so badly after doing things like this, or just anything I would do that was like driving or like anything that like just messed up my vestibular system, would really just fuck me up. And it was my birthday recently and I managed to go out to a really like busy like club restaurant and I didn't feel normal. But I definitely felt well enough that I could forget about it and enjoy my night. And I was fine the next day. The next day I actually didn't get a lot of sleep, and then I woke up, and then I had a birthday party at home, and I ate things that I shouldn't have, and I was still fine. And I know, I don't think that maybe that would have been something I could have done without Effexa. In fact, I'm pretty sure it is the drug, to be honest. I don't think I would have been able to do that. So what's changed? I can now drive a lot better at night. I'm still not great. Like, I'm still really light sensitive, but my threshold for it is higher, so I'm not completely like blurred with my vision. But if I spend too long, not so much on my phone because I turn the brightness down, but the brightness on my TV and downstairs is really bright for my eyes. And when I walk outside, I'm just like, ooh. But that's gone down. My balance is much better. In fact, that symptom, Effexa, has really cleared up. Not completely. I wouldn't say my balance is back to normal, but my rocking was probably an 8 out of 10. And now it's most days like a 5 out of 10, 4. So it's still definitely, I still get days where it flares up really bad, like depending on what I've done. Oh, excuse me. Or I've eaten and, etc. I don't think I have a lot of migraine triggers, but I definitely think things like lack of sleep and hormones affect me, doing too much, maybe MSG and eggs. I'm still really unsure of that, but like I don't think food's like the be all and end all for me. Hormones definitely. So around the time that I ovulate, I get more symptoms. Before my period, I get more symptoms. The biggest things for me at the moment, or the biggest symptoms that I'm still kind of battling with, which my doctors say are usually the last things to go, are I have a lot of visual static. I don't know, like if I'm staring at like my wall, it looks grainy. If I look at the sky, I see loads of dots everywhere and floaters, like just pieces of the sky just breaking off in front of me. I think I had that when I was a kid. I'm pretty sure I remember it as I was a kid, and it did ease off. So I'm really hoping once my brain calms down completely, that will go. It'd be nice to look at the sky and not see a million dots. My head pressure is much better. Still not normal, but better. Like I don't feel like my head's going to explode. My neck pain is better. I can do more. I can go out more. The other symptoms, sorry, I just realised that we're off topic, that I'm really struggling with is this foggy head and derealisation. I think a lot of people get this. I think a lot of people describe it differently. So I'm going to describe it again how I would describe it. If I close my eyes, I'm very aware that my head doesn't feel normal. It feels like it's full of something, like someone stuffed air and cotton, almost like my brain is being suffocated, like there's not enough oxygen going to my head. And it affects my vision, like it just feels like there's something around or inside my head. And it's worse when I'm outside. It's worse when I'm in busy places. So it's obviously linked. I think my doctor told me it's when your balance system isn't kind of 100%. It's a bit like when you're drunk and your balance is off. So I guess with this, it's like my balance has been off for so long now that my brain is just like fuzzy. It's a bit like being a bit drunk or like high on drugs or whatever. But yeah, that symptom has been the most persistent. Honestly, I think if I didn't have that symptom, I would feel so much better. So that's kind of what it feels like. It makes me feel very detached from my surroundings. It makes me feel very far away from things. Like, it's just such a bizarre thing to explain. And I don't think anyone can understand this unless they'd felt it. But I've been told by multiple doctors that it is linked to migraine. It is not anxiety. And it is all to do with your balance system and vestibular migraines. But to just express to a lot of people that watch this, my symptoms have been 24/7 since the day they started. I also just want to explain that I think when people hear the word migraine, it's very deceiving. Like, I don't really get headaches. I'm not saying I haven't had headaches because that would be a lie, but that's not my main symptom. I can't say I suffer with headaches that much. I have had auras. They've actually gone down a lot now, so I definitely think they've calmed down. The Pizotifin really helped with that. I think with this illness, it's isolating because people don't understand it. Like, I look completely healthy. People will log onto my Instagram and they'll see that I train and I work. These are firstly things that I really struggled to do in the first year. The first year was like the worst, but it's invisible, and I'm a really good actress. Like, I don't sit there banging on about my symptoms to my family, my friends as much more, because what is, like, it's hard. Like, people just don't understand what they can't see. So it's really good to reach out to people that have this illness. That's really helped me. And I think one thing to understand about this, because a lot of doctors, like, you need to advocate for yourself. A lot of doctors are just assholes. Like, migraine, like vestibular migraines can be 24/7 without headaches. And I think that information needs to be out there, because a lot of people could be getting diagnosed and get the right treatment and get help to recovery, rather than suffering for years on end with no answers. I mean, that is awful. So do your research, advocate for yourself, find a good doctor. Like, there's loads of doctors that I've had, that I'm not going to even go into names, that have been meant to be the top of this condition, and they've got no bedside manner. They, like, weren't nice, didn't make me feel hopeful. Find yourself a good doctor. I've changed doctors loads of times. Like, seriously, make sure you find a neurotologist or an ENT, because they know the most about this. And also, if you're in London, the National Migraine Clinic does free appointments, and you can just make a donation. So just bear that one in mind. I haven't been personally, but I have friends that have gone. I don't want to make this too long. I feel like I will make a proper video. I really want to make a video when I'm like, I'm completely back to normal. Obviously, I think with migraine, like, you're always going to have migraine, but you're going to be, you know, in periods of your life where it's in complete remission. I have had flare-ups as a kid and went back to being completely normal. And I'm hoping that the same happens this time. It's just taking a lot longer. October will be 2 years for me. And I would say from going from 0 to 10%, I am 60% most days. Like I said, my main symptom is this vision and this spaced out, weird, foggy head. But hopefully it will go soon. But it's still positive. I can still do most things except long distance driving. And like I said, I'm not very good at walking outside. Like, I just feel really spaced out. And also the spots and floaties in my vision don't make it very comfortable for me. But I am trying to take life one day at a time. I also sought out therapy. I was in therapy for about 1.5 years of this. I would recommend anyone to see a therapist, because I'm not someone that I would ever say I've suffered from depression, and I've lost both my parents. And even then, I wouldn't say I suffered from depression. But with this, I was in a very dark place. Like, I really didn't want to get up in the morning, because I was just so disabled by it. Like, so physically disabled. Like, you know, there were months that I spent in bed and I couldn't get out of bed. And I was just, yeah, like, it was awful. So if I can go from that to training again, and, you know, maybe I'm not back to normal and my head doesn't feel normal, and it's still hard. Like, it's not like I just want to go back to normal, but I just think you need to just try and be positive. I think being positive with this is something that I've learned is really important. And hey, maybe that's the drugs helping, because they do have like a massive anti-anxiety effect. So I also think that's really helped as well. But like I said, if you have any questions, like, feel free to message me on Instagram, and I will try and be on here as much as I can. I really hope these videos help people. I know that when I watch other people's videos with this, it really helps me. I see so many more people, like, making YouTube videos about this now, and that's amazing. You know, to anyone who doesn't have vestibular migraines, like, they're probably so sick of me talking about it, but, you know, it's a really horrible illness. There's not enough information out there. It is actually a lot more common than people think. And, you know, migraine affects 1 in 2 of us. So it's a really, like, it can be a really disabling illness. So the more people that make videos, the better. But until next time, I am due also to fly this year. Again, my second flight with this illness. So I'm really nervous about that. But I will also be making some YouTube videos about it and, like, traveling and stuff. But I did make a video about that. So feel free to check it out. All right. Bye.